Okay, so let me just go over that again for you. We've got the 3.2 Hanchu battery. We've got the 512 battery here and the 9.4. So this is the daddy. So we'll start with the 3.2 because this is where we started selling Hanchu batteries. This is the first model. This is a IP54 rated battery, so it can go outside, ideally in some kind of protection away from the sun, from direct sunlight. The battery itself has a 40 amp charge and a 60 amp discharge. Now, when you work out the maths on that, you'll be charging your battery about 2.2, 2.3 kilowatts going into the battery per hour, but it will actually discharge at its capacity, which is around 3.2, depending upon the battery voltage. This particular battery is very modular in the way it works, so you can actually stack it on top of each other, side by side, however you want to do it. But because of the size of them, you can actually put it into a smaller location to get maximum power on this range. There is a little LCD screen here to show you the actual battery SOC value from 25% up to 100%. And these will flash as it's charging, and it will deteriorate with the actual lights as it's actually discharging as well. Very, how can I put it? Simplistic is the correct way of actually looking at this battery. There's nothing too complicated about it. There is dip switches on the inside to address each battery in the stack. With this, you can have up to 16 connected to each other on one inverter. So there's an awful lot of capacity you can have with these on a modular design. So you can start as small as you want and then add to it as you go along, all the way up to 16 cells, depending upon whether or not you get enough power from your actual inverter. The batteries themselves do come with a logger, which is another word for a dongle, which looks like this. And this is the same for every battery that we supply, which literally just goes into the side of the battery and puts each individual battery online for you. The benefit of that is that we actually can see everything that there is about this battery. That means it will monitor your external temperatures, so we know what kind of environment your battery is being stored in, and whether or not it's too cold, too hot. And then also that will give us information of what the internal temperature inside here with all the workings will actually perform at. So we can manipulate that data and change and tweak things remotely. So it means you don't need to be there to actually do this. And that's the sole purpose of getting these batteries online, so we can see everything for you and help you with and reduce the cost of you having to go back to site. The battery itself is quite quick in terms of getting online as well. So when you're actually putting it onto your actual station, literally takes maybe 10-15 seconds per battery. So if you've got 16 of these in a stack, literally just tip it once, and then every single battery, one at a time, will just find its own individual position, aligned with the dip switches, and give that information for you. Now, because of the superior performance of the 3.2, it actually has 100% depth of discharge, which means you can use the full 3.2 kilowatts of storage per battery. Now, there's not an awful lot of batteries out there that can actually give you that assurance. We can. The battery itself is also very lightweight, so it's only 34 kilos, 34.5 to be exact. So they're very easy to move around. They're not too heavy, too cumbersome, and they're small. Now, moving from this one to the 512, this is where we've actually now upscaled to this particular battery. This one is offering almost double capacity as this, but this will actually charge at 100 amps and discharge at 100 amps. So you're getting a 1C charge rate and a 1C discharge rate. To put that into layman terms, it will charge and discharge at its capacity value. So if it's a 512 battery, it will charge at 512 and it will discharge at 512 kilowatts. Up to 16 of these can be put together again. It has an inbuilt fire suppression system inside, so it's very safe for environments. Customers can be rest assured that if they're looking at safety having something that's got an inbuilt fire system that would protect their home from catching fire from lithium, this has it. Brilliant piece of kit. The overall aspect of the 512 is its actual size. It's only 46 kilograms in weight. Again, not very much difference to the 3.2. Modular design, a lot thinner. So again, these are designed really to go on the wall like this, side by side. But you can have them above or below. You can even floor stack them if you wish. At the bottom of the battery, again, you've got your LCD showing you your SOC values and your run status on the battery again. Dongles fit into the actual system, and it is supported by the really good 3.0 monitoring platform. This battery is IP54 rated, again, can go outside. It also has the capacity, if your system is big enough, it also would require extra purchase of cables, of a 200 pass-through. Sounds crazy, but this particular battery, if you have numerous batteries attached to it, you're increasing the size of your stack every time that you do that. So if you have two batteries, one inverter, both of those batteries could supply 100 amps to your inverter with this as a pass-through. Again, no batteries on the market that I know of can actually handle that kind of power as a single cell, as a pass-through. In terms of the 9.4 as a low voltage system, and when I said this is the daddy, this really is something different. This has blade technology, whereas these are using standardized cells, this is using blade. The difference between this and those is that the compact of cells is very small, which means they're also a lot safer in their makeup, their chemical makeup. Again, has an inbuilt fire protection at the top to coat the battery if in the event of a fire and protect the actual cells. More so, it also has an inbuilt breather valve at the back of the battery. This is to protect the actual casing. So if anything was to happen in the event of something like a fire, the battery was to be dropped or knocked over, whatever, and the cells were to be damaged inside, lithium cells can expand. And if they expand, they can break the casing. And some people may have seen where batteries have actually started to bulge and things like that. This would never happen with this battery. The casing will always stay intact, which is good for the customer. It's safer, and there is no leakage in that respect. This particular battery again will charge and discharge 100 amps. Has a full LCD screen, which is touch sensitive. So you tap it twice for it to turn on, tap it twice again, and it will turn off. But it does give you a full information of what that battery is doing on the screen, and it shows you graphics of when it's charging and when it's discharging. So it's very easy for you to work out what that battery is doing at that moment in time. You don't have to look at your inverter to understand whether it's charging or discharging. It will address itself automatically. What I mean by that is there is no need for any dip switches with these batteries. They will automatically find themselves in the stack. So you could have 1 to 16 of these on your inverter, and they will address themselves 1 to 16 automatically. So to give you a bit of an idea, I could have 16 of these batteries in stack. I could just literally connect it into the middle one. They will automatically find their own address. So number 1 could be over there and the 16 could be down here. Doesn't really matter. But the system itself will deliver the power that's needed to your inverter and give you everything. That means this is really easy for your installers to install the battery, because you don't have to play around with dip switches. All you've literally got to do is plug the communication cable from the battery into your inverter, turn the battery on, and the battery will find itself and then start delivering the communications. The inverter will then start requesting or giving the power to the battery. Really easy to do. The upside of this particular cell is, as it's a 9.4 battery, in terms of its size in comparison to other market leaders, this is tiny. It's 72 kilos in weight. So to compare that to something like the Give Energy Bat, that's around 115 kilos. Fox, of a similar size, I think that's a 10 kilowatt battery. Theirs is 101. So that is a very small battery, and in terms of weight, it's also very narrow. I'd like to get it off the wall, but obviously it's 72 kilos for you to see. What does come in the box, though, is your actual wall mount. So you will get the wall mount, but you will also get your feet. So we give you some roller feet to manoeuvre the battery around on a hard floor. And it comes with like a little bracket at the back to actually secure it so you can't tip it over. All this comes as standard in the box with this battery and every other battery you purchase. So we make sure that when you're actually purchasing these products, you have everything to hand straight away to install the product safely, securely, and make it look smart. Again, with the 9.4, this does have an IP rating, but it's actually a lot better than these two. It's actually IP65. So this can actually be directly outside. That doesn't mean it's waterproof or dustproof in any way, shape or form. So it would need some kind of protection over the top from like dropping debris from the roofs, very heavy weather like snow and things like that. But it is IP65. The actual overview in terms of all three batteries will be extending later, but we will actually go through that on another webinar with you. The actual inverters themselves, if you decide to go down the route of Hanchu, just to give you a for instance, all three of these batteries will be protected by the Hanchu inverters as well, to make sure that these batteries will never over discharge when used with one of their inverters. So we've had this in the past with other suppliers, like we'll use things like Fox, Give Energy, Grow, all the rest of them. We know that other battery cells have failed in the past. This is going to promise you that this will never happen with these three batteries. Back in with the actual overview of the app and the monitoring system means that we can fully dial into any system that you install, see exactly the same environment of what the actual system is being installed into, and set it up in a way that's designed individually for your customers. So if they want to use things like Octopus, weather compensation, all these batteries will work with this system along with your inverter. Now the chemical makeup that we use is lithium polymer, or LiPo4 is what some people call them. It's the latest edition of chemicals to make sure it's also the safest. This is the only battery on a residential install that has blade technology. It's the only battery that we are made aware of that has ever passed a nail penetration test. That has to go through the manufacturing process to actually go through that to show you how safe this particular battery is. So when we're saying to you, rest assured that we've actually tested this. The normal nail penetration tests are normally 8 millimeters thick. Hanchu went one step further than that and actually put a 20 millimeter nail through this battery and nothing happened. So we know that this battery is super safe, and this is the king of the battery that we provide. That's pretty much the actual range. And what I will do now is open up some questions and answers about the products. We can go through that, and then if there's nothing else further, what we'll do is then we'll email this to you if you request it. Any questions I can answer for you? We can see the video here. Can you please double check your end? No video. I must apologize if that is the case. Can we see? Can you confirm that, Sue? Can you see the video?
I can, so that's why that's my answer. You can see that's my answer. Yeah.
Oh, video is all good. Excellent. Yeah. Got the video. Okay. So we've had to restart. We've missed a little bit. Just to confirm, this is the 3.2 Hanchu battery, the 512 kilowatt Hanchu battery, and the 9.4 Hanchu battery. These are all low voltage batteries for a low voltage system. Each one of these can be paralleled up to 16 times, which means you can have 16 units together linked to one inverter.
So we got a question from Sean.
Let me just scroll down. I can't see that one.
Sean asked, can you explain some more about the blade technology, please?
So with the blade technology, I have actually got some breakdowns of the blade technology. So it's high thermal stability of this battery. It can tolerate higher temperatures. Because it's actually quite compact in the way it's designed, this will actually deliver, I believe, against weight, 134 weight per kilo. Sorry, 134 watts per kilo in terms of its performance. So when you look at the energy density of an actual cell, this is the highest density battery on the market because of the blade technology and the way it's been designed. So it's not a wraparound solution which you normally find in normal cells. It's actually unraveled into a long, kind of like a rectangle format, and the cells are literally next to each other like that inside. And because of this, it makes it incredibly dense because you're compacting it into a smaller area, so it doesn't have to go as far inside the battery. It's a superior structure design as well with the blade. What that actually means is that utilization of space using the blade means they can reduce the overall capacity by 50% in terms of the way it's actually set up. It's got an enhanced performance under stress because of the chemical makeup within the blade technology. It's a similar kind of thing as to what they would use in Tesla cars. When Tesla cars first came out, they wanted something that was really safe in case of an accident, something like that. It's basically the same technology as what they would use, and the only difference probably would be the chemical makeups inside the battery. It's also super reliable under extreme weather. So the colder it is, the hotter it is, it can actually perform at a much higher rate than a normal cell would do. And this is what makes the blade cell itself far superior. So these batteries can actually cope with temperatures as low as -20 up to +60 degrees. So the batteries will actually charge up to 0, but they will actually discharge from -20 onwards. We all know that lithium can be a bit of a pain sometimes when it's too cold. So it will discharge, but once it goes below 0, it will turn off the charge because obviously putting it in something that's really cold could cause a catastrophic event. So that's the blade. What's the maximum out of the inverter connected to the house? That's dependent upon the size of the actual inverter that you have. Easiest way to work out what kind of you're going to be getting from an inverter is to back calculate it. So if I have, just to give you for instance, a 3,680 watt inverter, which is a 3.68, and then divide that by the volts of the batteries that I'm attaching it to, would actually work out your amps. So we use the calculation of volts times amps equals watts. So it's just basically backwards calculating it. What is the maximum size PV array that can be put onto the 6 kilowatt inverter? Well, the inverters will actually be covered in another webinar, but just to give you an idea, there's 9 kilowatts you can put on a 6 kilowatt Hanchu inverter. Not battery related, but can the hybrid inverters be used as an AC coupled system only? Yes, they can. They can actually work as both. So you can actually use it as a hybrid, so you're plugging everything into the actual inverter and it will deal with the power and deliver it where it needs to. But you can also just AC couple it, which means if you've got an external PV supply that's already fitted to your house, we can make sure that this monitors that PV supply and actually steals all the excess energy from your consumer unit rather than allow it to go to the grid. Or you can actually work them both together, so you can actually have a hybrid and an AC coupled system at the same time. I'm sure I've seen a wireless CT clamp. Has this been discontinued? That would be on the Lux system. Yes, there is a wireless CT that can still be purchased. We did have some niggles with some of the firmware initially. You can still do that. I believe Hanchu are testing that, but I'm not certain whether that's actually something you can purchase in the future. Correct, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it's still available for the Lux inverters. You can purchase it if you put it on a purchase order and send it to the office. Does anybody have any questions about the low voltage batteries? See if I've got a couple more questions coming through. No, thanks. Yeah, fine. No more questions so far. Okay, so it looks like we've got no more questions coming in, so I'm going to end it there. Well, just to recap, we have the 3.2 kilowatt low voltage battery, P54 rated, 40 amp charge, 60 discharge. We have the 512 kilowatt Hanchu low voltage battery, 100 amp charge, 100 amp discharge, fire suppression inbuilt inside the unit. Actually has a 200 amp pass through. Again, you'd need to buy additional cables in order for that to actually happen. And then the 9.4 kilowatt low voltage system, 100 amp charge, 100 amp discharge, IP65, IP54. That is arranged. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.